Hi, young Turks. This is Christopher James Habron of the Mustang. I wanted to make this video to let you know that I am real, and this is no frills, and I'm fortunately very sick, so it would be wonderful if you would use your network to promote this mission work. I've been working on it since 2009, and I'm at a standstill because I've unfortunately gotten very sick and need someone to sign this over to keep it going. Basically, I was born with bipolar, a disability, which has prevented me from really achieving what I want to in life. And where I live, I'm too much of a liability to invest in, and I can't handle full days of work right now because I'm sick. So I talked to my doctor and told her what I was planning, and she said, well, you're the consultant for the Rothschild's priceless piece of art that brings the world together. You're the designer of it, and you should genuinely ask for $10 million to get it started. You have all the pieces, and there's going to be somebody out there with the 8 billion people in the world that's going to help. And the first person that I'm going to ask for help from is George Bush. And the reason for that is that his mother's hospital is literally on the name of the ship. I had this logo custom made and own the rights to it. And if you're wondering why Impulse is on there, that's the original name of the ship. And the Mustang is going upside down right over the top of it. You can figure out why. So, George, I was hoping to sign over my home, my wheelchair, so you could really build this ship into something special. And it's basically, I thought about all of this, and I was like, I'm a Knight of Columbus, but if I'm being attacked by pirates and I call the Pope, he's going to say a prayer for me, which isn't going to help a whole lot. And if I call you, I get the U.S. Navy. And I would have loved to join the U.S. Navy, but because of my disability, I can't. But through this, I can. And a major problem that is basically a global crisis right now is microplastics, because the environment does not know how to break them down. They just get smaller and smaller and into our systems and disrupt our endocrine disruptors and produce carcinogens in our body, which is cancer. And St. Jude has that pretty much covered. And there's one handprint on the left of the mast, which is from a St. Jude sponsor who taught me how to sail. And the right side of the mast, I'll walk around so you can see, hopefully, is a handprint of a man who your mother read to up until he passed away. It's a little black dot on there, but your mother, Barbara Bush, read to his nephew by his bedside while he was dying. And that's something super special. He works in the boatyard here. I want to apologize to Daniel Bartlett because I didn't know how Freemasonry was run here. And I really hated the way that things got started here. I applied for Freemasonry and got really sick at Bar Harbor Hospital and went there for the same conditions that a Japanese friend in Brazil almost died from. And instead of getting proper treatment, the doctor grabbed my genitals, rubbed them around, pushed down hard, and said, "It's good to know we have someone down there." And I was horrified, and then he gave me medicine that knocked me out, and I don't know what happened next. And I'm a clinician, so this gets even more messed up. Well, he's dead, so we can't pursue that route, and that's a waste of time. And sadly, a lot of people that put together this project are also dead. especially, which is really unfortunate, your lawyer, Wayne T. Adams in Kenny Bunkport, who I was going to call when I got back here to set things up with you and to set things up at Barbara Bush Hospital. So Barbara Bush Hospital is known as the leader in the world for endocrine disruptors and is known for really the start of this mission work to build a priceless piece of art for the Rothschilds that is basically an obelisk the size of Cholula, because it's the most efficient to build an obelisk in trying to build a grotto in the ocean. And what I was thinking was we surround that obelisk with sacred land, and we get that sacred land by having special people around the world put it in plastic bottles. And what I mean by special people, I have to be in not politically correct so it can translate, which means basically people that are it's really hard to say this, retarded. And I grew up in the same room as them because I had bipolar and I could only handle a few hours a day before my mind would just start racing. And so that's why I'm at this stage where I have all the parts and I need to hand over the keys to you to set this up with respect to your mother and Jeb and her daughters, or your daughters, and I know you will do the best job in setting this up respectfully for her. I have all the pieces to this. I am genuinely sick right now. This is the form from the doctor from today, and I'm looking for really $10 million from the elite to set this up. Julio, I bought the products to be installed by your friend who owns Home Depot and have all the pieces and wanted them to be installed by special people, but I found out that was too much of a liability and I couldn't do that. But I'm really hoping that you can figure that out, Bush family, and set this up with them. I really don't like being in the spotlight, and my reading is horrific. And designed a website called Catholic Microplastics to really shock people into realizing we had an entire different world order geometry architecture that we could have used, and we didn't. The canceled contract really disrupted things, and the canceled contract was for you, George, and your family to have the oil rights in Brazil, and Shriners took that away from you, and I don't know where the profits went with the new contract that Randy created, but the original one was for your family. That was canceled. And the reality is, to build this island, you're gonna need a lot of money to build this grotto, this priceless piece of art. And the reality also is that environmentally friendly products are made from oil. My electric generating wind turbine is made from plastic that's made from oil. And a lot of products are. So if you know anybody in the oil industry, I could really appreciate it, because when you build that world's largest obelisk in the ocean, you might as well pump oil through it and build a microplastics research facility in it. It's probably not a good idea to build an obelisk and right under it let the dead dinosaurs go to waste. And I was asked, what do we call this obelisk? And I was like, after the world's largest pyramid, Cholula. And I want to ask Lua to be selfish right now and say, you know what? We need an obelisk in the ocean the size of Cholula with my name on it to symbolize the fact we have more oil than Saudi Arabia. And my best friend in Brazil, his grandfather was actually the chairman of Petrobras. his father was the president, and they left when Petrobras became privatized. Not privatized, it went from privatization to state-owned. So Lula, I guess, owns it. So you put all these pieces together, and it's not just pieces for a boat, it's pieces for a new world order. A new world order that I actually wrote down in a very special black book that was created by your mother's friends, George and Jeb, and her granddaughters, when my mom went to work at Barbara Bush Children's Hospital, Maine Medical Center. And while she was at work, I went to the library to study with her friends and learn how to build Tent City 3 token teens, because the sister state agreement is actually from New Hampshire, Live Free or Die, in 2009. It's not from the new contract written in 2015. And when you're building a new world order, you probably want to build a world order in the world's largest pyramid, because you're trying to fit as much as possible in it. And I have a gift where what takes people years, and we're going on like 14 now since I created the original piece of art, to implement Cholula and implement an economic system and trade agreement through it. And in this black book, well, the last person that skimmed through it said it's basically a nuclear bomb, and to be very careful with what you share that's in it. So I sent a bunch of emails to the Young Turks Press, and they can use them however they desire. I created this, and there's a contract for it, and for your family, along with the Resendi family from 2015, to build the world's largest obelisk off the shore of Brazil. And instead, that was canceled to create a new world order that, quite frankly, looks like this, in relation through Giza. And I was like, how do I get this started? And I was like, $10 million, because 10's the number of personal insight, and 10,000's not going to be enough. So I was like, how do I do that? And I was like, well, you start the March of Benjamins, because this place is designed to be a polymath, and Benjamin Franklin was the original polymath of America. Plus, the March of Benjamins is a lot easier to count than the March of Dimes. And your mother read to a gentleman or a young child that had polio, and everything was set up through Freemasonry to support polio, but that's not a global crisis anymore. Microplastics is. And when I say ceremonial zone, I have to be politically incorrect again and a little risque, being a Knight of Columbus. But ceremonial zone for this project means penis and vagina and obelisk and sacred land around that obelisk. So when I say ceremonial zone, building a ceremonial zone, that's what I'm referring to, and that should be treated with care. And one of the big problems that happened in Brazil was a great oil spill. And I can promise you, building something through this obelisk won't cause that, because it'll be surrounded by sacred land. Sacred art, hopefully from the Italians, because they have great style and food. And I don't see any more responsible way than building a place that brings oil out of the ground than building it for people with excuse me, it's windy and the hair's getting in my face. I grew my hair out so I could donate it to a child that lost theirs at your hospital. My focus on this is providing the 222 people with autism in the world with food, water, and shelter, because they don't have the ability to, but they can solve amazing math. And what'll be unique about this ceremonial zone is that when no one on mainstream politics can figure out solutions, they can come here. And I hate to call it Autism Island, because the plastic bottles to float it will break down in the ocean, which can be studied by the laboratory underneath to come up with solutions. But the fact is that if there's a disruption of endocrine disruptors and 1 in 36 people are born with autism, in my professional opinion, it's coming from the toxins in microplastics. To start off understanding this, you really need to watch the documentary X Expedition, which was created by a classmate of mine from high school, whose name is Marcia, who is an amazing woman. Her work is always perfect, and I've always been impressed with her, sometimes too afraid to say the right things. So back to the boat. It is a Lancer 36, the original American-made or racing yacht, I guess you could say. The symbol is a lance with the number 36, and the 36 symbolizing the 1 in 36 people born with autism. To build this ceremonial zone that provides oil with the ability to generate profits to take care of the 222 people with autism in the world. And that's kind of how things came together, through basic math. I'm going to kind of end things here, and hopefully didn't say anything politically offensive. The emails I sent, I got special room treatment for my writing because I write in two directions, and I wanted people to understand the difference when they got emails from me in the morning till later in the day, and the quality of those, because I have a disability, and when my mind starts to race after 3 hours of really hard work, I really can't handle that, and it's painful, and I don't want to end up like Andy Irons, Bruce Irons' brother, the famous surfer. I want to live a happy life and have a way where I can work 3 hours a day and solve problems and do math in a matter of seconds with my polymath education that people still honestly haven't figured out in 13 years in Freemasonry, which is Cholula is bigger than Giza, and we need to build a foundation from it, and it's a great place to build a foundation from because it has no recorded history. The biggest problem I had in Freemasonry was that every generation builds a bigger pyramid over the older generation. Every new, younger generation builds a bigger pyramid. And it's taught in Freemasonry, and it's all set up that older generations build bigger pyramids over younger people. And that makes no sense, because when you build a bigger pyramid over a smaller pyramid with a younger generation, that smaller generation, or that younger generation, and that smaller pyramid is protected and given jobs. And the way the model is set up, so many people don't have jobs because that bigger pyramid isn't allowed to be created over the smaller pyramid and protect it. And that's what Cholula's architecture taught me. It didn't get rated for a long time until they weren't building pyramids over the last to protect the ones underneath. So I have everything written in the book over the past 13 years, and everything's finished. I just need $10 million to get things started based on math. I make decisions because of my illness through math, not emotions. And no, you easily have the ability, Dr. Giulio, who started all of this in 2009, by suggesting I join Masonry and putting a man that would sexually molest me when I thought I had something that I was dying from in a hospital together to get this started, to make Catholic microplastics legitimate, not for profit, and to build this ceremonial zone for Freemasonry and have a grotto in it that's closed to the public now that Shriners opened things to the public. Yeah, I'm going to end this on there and say hi to show you I am a real person. My body swelled up from medication I had to take, so this is kind of embarrassing. I usually look jacked. But Young Turks, I have the plans for a new world order created by Barbara Bush's friends that were canceled in a contract in 2015 to put a new world order in the hands of a younger generation instead of keep a world order with the same small pyramid in an older generation. My name is Captain Christopher James Habron, and all of the pieces to this puzzle are finished. I just need the money to start it and the world to realize that we can build a new world order through Cholula. And everyone that knows me I always had a book in my hand to promote Barbara Bush's reading charity. Books are like basically my best friend. I have government certifications in international logistics, expertise in export documentation, international finance, global masters in business administration, clinician, and then a polymath of like 20 other things I haven't experienced from there. So I'm coming as a consultant, looking for a start other than signing this over to somebody that really won't care about building Barbara Bush Children's Hospital into the ultimate children's hospital when it comes to the effects of endocrine disruptors. So George, I give you my keys to the Mustang, which has a horse hoof attached to it, and my friend made a tag for it that says Chris's Chick Magnet, and really would like Ford Motor Company to really redesign it and give something impressive and put a Navy seal of approval for a sail. So when I'm sailing, pirates know not to go near it, because I know if I call the Pope, he's just going to say a prayer for me, and you're going to open up the gates of hell for me on the only ship that bears your mother's name for her hospital. So George, let me know how I can sign this over so you can set this up with the utmost respect to your mother, and please sign it back over to me, but please leave me out of the spotlight other than, a few hours of the day when I can really come with my A game and do that 3 seconds, 4 seconds of math that takes most people 10 years to figure out because they don't know where to look. 90% of the battle is knowing where to look. The rest is the personal insight in order to achieve victory. And this is where you look. I have all the pieces. So God bless. George, you and your father were my favorite presidents. I'll always be a Barbara Bush Republican because they took the time to invest a lot of time in teaching me to create this project. And I feel for you, man, because I dined with Lord and Lady Provost from Glasgow and sat in the Imperial Potentate of Shriners International chair. And I know the guys at the top get money printed out whether they make good decisions or bad decisions. So you have to deal with some really messed up stuff that unless you're with the people that get printed out money that make bad decisions and still get printed out more money, you don't realize how to relate that to the public. Again, I wish, I could have done this quicker, but because of policies and procedures and corruption and a whole organization of men with hammers and chisels that have never learned about the world's largest stone monument in ancient history, we're getting on 13 years right now. So I guess this is the end of my story, Young Turks, for now. I hope there's $10 million with the Rezendi family on 5/31/2023. This is the moment in history where it's explained we had two roads in 2015. Keep Shriners closed to the public and let youth build a bigger pyramid over the top, or open it up to the public so that the rest of the people that were affected by 1922 gaslighting could be